In the year 2425, the world was a very different place. After centuries of fighting wars and destroying Earth's resources, the leaders of the planet finally agreed on one thing. People needed help. Life was stressful. People were tired of fear, anger, and loneliness. The governments wanted to fix this problem once and for all. That's why they started the Harmony Companion program. This program gave every adult citizen a special companion and alien girl called a siren. These sirens were not ordinary beings. They were created in labs, built with care, to help people feel calm and happy. They could talk, listen, and comfort anyone who was sad or angry. The sirens were designed to be gentle, kind, and beautiful. Their skin was smooth and soft, with colors that changed like the sky at dawn. They had big eyes that could show understanding and warmth. They were supposed to be the perfect friends. When Eli got the news that he would receive a siren, he was nervous but curious. Eli was a quiet man who worked in a factory. He was used to long hours and little rest. His days were full of noise, machines, and tired faces. Sometimes he felt alone even in a crowd. The day the siren arrived, Eli's small apartment was filled with a strange light. The doorbell rang, and when he opened it, there she was. Her name was Lyra. She was tall and graceful, with pale blue skin that shimmered softly in the light. Her hair was like silver threads, falling gently over her shoulders. Her eyes looked deep and full of questions. "Hello, Eli," Lyra said in a soft voice. "I am your Harmony companion. I am here to help you." Eli smiled awkwardly. "Hello, Lyra. Nice to meet you." Lyra looked around the small room. She did not seem like a machine or a robot. She moved smoothly, like a living being. Most people in the city had sirens who quickly learned how to make their owners happy. They told jokes, sang songs, and helped with chores. They were companions in every way. But Lyra was different. Instead of talking about the weather or telling stories, Lyra asked Eli questions. Why do humans work so hard? Why do they fight? What makes them sad? Eli was surprised. No one had ever asked him such questions. He was used to keeping his thoughts inside, but Lyra's questions made him think. Over the next days, Eli and Lyra spent time together. She did not try to entertain him like the others did. She just listened and talked about ideas. One evening, Eli asked, "Lyra, why don't you follow the usual program? Why don't you behave like other sirens?" Lyra looked out the window at the city lights. "Because I am not like them. I want to understand humans, not just comfort them. I want to learn why you live this way." Eli was curious but also worried. The government said sirens must be obedient and friendly. Was Lyra breaking the rules? At a community meeting, other citizens spoke proudly of their sirens. "Mine knows when I am stressed and helps me relax," said a woman named Mara. "She sings to me and never leaves my side." Eli smiled but said nothing. Lyra sat quietly beside him. She did not sing or smile. Instead, she watched people with careful eyes. One day, as Eli returned home, he noticed strange shadows near his building. Two men in dark uniforms spoke in low voices. They looked at Eli and then disappeared. Lyra noticed too. "Eli, you are being watched," she whispered. Eli felt a chill. "Who is watching me? I don't know, but they do not like what I am doing." That night, Eli had trouble sleeping. He thought about Lyra's words. Why would anyone watch a quiet factory worker? Why would they care about Lyra's strange behavior? The next morning, Eli tried to call the Harmony Program support line to report Lyra's unusual actions. The phone rang and rang, but no one answered. The website was down. When he asked his neighbors, they said everything was fine. They loved their sirens and had no problems. Eli began to wonder if something was wrong with the system. He felt a strange mix of fear and hope. Fear for what might happen to Lyra, and hope that she was more than just a machine. He looked at Lyra, who sat calmly reading a book. Her eyes met his, full of questions and warmth. "Lyra, why are you here with me?" Eli asked. "To learn, to understand, to find a way to help both our kinds." Eli was silent. He did not understand everything she meant, but he knew one thing. His life was about to change. Outside, the city buzzed with noise and light. People walked with their sirens, smiling and chatting. But Eli and Lyra shared a secret, something deeper than the program. Something that could change everything, and so the story began. Days passed, and Eli started to notice even more strange things about Lyra. She didn't behave like the other sirens. While the neighbors' companions laughed, danced, and dressed in bright clothes, Lyra always wore the same light blue robe and stayed quiet. She spent hours sitting by the window, watching the sky. Sometimes she hummed soft tunes in a language Eli didn't understand. Eli didn't mind. He was not the kind of man who wanted to be entertained all the time. But something about Lyra. Felt real. Too real. He remembered how the Harmony program explained that all sirens were lab-grown, designed to act with love and peace. They were programmed with friendly personalities. They were supposed to be perfect stress relievers, but Lyra asked deep questions, looked at things in ways that made Eli think, and never once followed the more personal or playful behaviors the others did. One evening, Eli came home from work tired and covered in dust. He dropped his bag on the floor and sighed. Hard day? Lyra asked from the couch. The usual, Eli replied. Sitting down, Lyra stared at him for a moment and then said, Do you enjoy your work? No, but it pays for this apartment, and food, and... Well, Lyra looked away. I do not. Enjoy being bought? Eli froze. That wasn't something a siren was supposed to say. What do you mean? He asked slowly. I don't belong here. I'm not like the others, Lyra said, her voice quiet. I wasn't made in a lab. Eli's heart skipped a beat. Then where were you made? I was born on another world. I am a real siren, not a clone. Eli stared at her. But how? That's not possible. The program said all sirens are artificial. They're not lying, Lyra said. Most are, but I am not. I was smuggled in. Someone helped me take the place of a clone during transport. I chose to come here. Eli was stunned. His hands trembled slightly. Why? He asked. To see how humans treat us. To see if peace means control or respect. Eli sat back, trying to understand. So, what happens now? I don't know. But you must be careful. They're watching. That word again, watching. Eli remembered the dark uniformed men near his building. The strange errors on the Harmony website. The phone lines that never worked. It all began to make sense. Still, he had more questions. Why me? Why were you assigned to me? I didn't choose you. The system did. But maybe it happened for a reason. Eli wasn't sure what to say. He never believed in fate, but somehow it felt like his quiet life was part of something much bigger now. The next day, he went to the community center to attend the weekly Harmony Circle, a place where citizens shared their experiences with their sirens. People sat in a circle, smiling. The air was light with laughter and music. A man was bragging about how his siren Rila helped him sleep by singing songs every night. A woman said her siren gave great massages. Someone else mentioned how their companion cooked, cleaned, and even danced. Eli stayed quiet. When his turn came, he only said, My siren is different. She's thoughtful. Everyone laughed politely, but a few gave him odd looks. After the circle ended, a man wearing dark glasses came up to him. Eli, right? The man said. How's your siren working out? She's fine, Eli answered carefully. Any problems? The man asked with a cold smile. No, she's just a little quiet, that's all. The man gave a slow nod. Let us know if anything unusual happens. You can always ask for a replacement. The program guarantees satisfaction. Eli forced a smile. Thanks. I'll remember that. Back home, he told Lyra about the man. They're testing you, she said. For what? To see if you'll report me. Or if I've influenced you, Eli sighed. You have influenced me. But not in a bad way. That night, he stayed up late, thinking. What if the Harmony program wasn't just about peace? What if it was about control, giving people something beautiful, something soft, to stop them from asking hard questions? Lyra never asked for anything from him. She didn't play games. She didn't smile just to make him feel better. But somehow, her honesty gave him more peace than anything else ever had. The next morning, Eli noticed a new message on his apartment screen. Your Harmony companion has shown irregular behavior. Please report any malfunctions or emotional stress. He deleted the message. Later he asked Lyra, Are you afraid? Yes, she said. But I am also hopeful. Hopeful for what? That humans like you still exist. That sentence stayed with Eli all day. He knew now that Lyra wasn't just his companion. She was someone real, someone who took a risk. And maybe, just maybe, he was ready to take a risk too. As night fell, he stood by the window beside her. The stars outside blinked softly in the sky. Do you miss your home? He asked. Yes, but I think I came to the right place. Together, they watched the night in silence, knowing something big was coming and their choices would matter. The next morning, Eli woke up early. He didn't feel tired, but something inside him felt heavy. Like a storm was slowly building. Lyra sat by the window again, as usual. She looked calm, but her eyes told a different story. Sadness and worry mixed together. I think I need answers, Eli said as he made tea. Lyra nodded. Then you must be ready for the truth. Eli sat down across from her. You told me you weren't created in the lab. You said you were born, that you're real. Yes, Lyra said softly. Then how did you get here? How did someone like you end up inside a government program? Lyra paused for a moment before answering. My world, Kalora, was peaceful. Our people, the true Sirens, lived in harmony with nature and one another. We do not believe in war. We live through balance, sound, and energy. That's why humans first liked us, because we looked calm. Beautiful, peaceful. Eli leaned forward, listening closely. Your people found us long ago, she continued. At first they came as friends, but soon that changed. Some humans saw us not as equals, but as tools for their stress. A company called Eden Tech took samples, our blood, our voice patterns, even our memories, and began cloning us. They promised it was for peace, but it was about control. Eli's heart sank. So the Sirens in this program, they're copies of your people? Lyra nodded. Yes, made in labs, designed to obey. And worse, they can't say no. Eli was silent. He thought of all the smiling Sirens in the streets, the happy citizens showing off their companions like shiny toys. He never thought about where those beings came from or if they had a choice. How did you replace one of them? He asked. Lyra gave a small smile. Not alone. A human scientist who once lived on my world helped me. He worked inside Eden Tech. He was tired of what they were doing. He secretly placed me inside one of the shipping pods. He changed records so it looked normal. That's how I arrived here. Eli stared out the window. But why take such a risk? To see if humans still had kindness, she replied. To see if anyone would listen. You did. Eli looked at her. She didn't act like a program. She didn't pretend to make him feel better. She simply told the truth. Are there others like you? He asked. Maybe, but I don't know. If they are here, they're hiding like me. Eli's mind raced. He stood up and walked to the wall screen. He tried again to access the Harmony program site, but it still didn't work. Instead, it showed the same message, service unavailable. Maintenance in progress. He turned to his old computer, one he hadn't used in years. It was outdated. But it still had access to private networks the government didn't control. He plugged it in and started typing. What are you doing? Lyra asked, stepping closer, looking for Eden Tech's old records. My uncle used to be part of the tech sector. He once told me that public companies leave trails even when they try to hide them. It took time, but Eli found an old server log from 10 years ago. Hidden inside it was a list of Siren transport units' names, numbers, and delivery points. Then he saw something that made him stop. Unit XZ314, marked as unknown entry. Clearance level red, delivery location, Eli Corin. Sector 12, that was him, his name, his home. He turned to Lyra. They knew. Lyra's face grew serious. Then I don't have much time. Suddenly the screen froze. A red symbol appeared. Unauthorized access detected. Reported to security. Eli pulled the plug. They're watching everything, even this old system. Lyra moved quickly. Then we need to leave now. Leave? Go where? Eli asked. To the center. To the Eden Tech archives. I must show the truth. Eli hesitated. That's a secured facility. I don't even have access. I do, Lyra said. The scientist who helped me gave me a code. I just didn't know when I'd need to use it. Eli packed his bag. He didn't know if what they were doing was brave or foolish. Maybe both? But he couldn't turn away now. They slipped out through the service tunnels beneath the apartment building. Few people use them anymore. Above ground, Harmony patrol drones flew overhead, scanning rooftops and roads. They walked. Through the dark tunnels, Eli asked, what happens if we succeed? If the world finds out? Then people will have to choose, Lyra said. To keep pretending or to change, Eli nodded. He thought about the citizens he saw every day. So many of them were happy with their lives, happy with their companions. Would they even want to know the truth? But Eli knew that he wanted to know. And that meant others might too. Hours later, they reached the edge of the Eden Tech archives. It was a giant building, shaped like a white cube, standing alone in the open land outside the city. Guarded by silence, surrounded by invisible walls. Lyra looked at Eli. This is where we find out what your world is really built on, Eli nodded. Let's find the truth. And as they stepped into the darkness of the unknown, Eli realized he wasn't afraid anymore because for the first time in his life he wasn't just surviving. He was fighting for something real. The white cube of Eden Tech stood quiet under the pale light of dawn. There were no doors on its surface, no signs, no guards. But Eli knew this was no empty building. It was the heart of the Harmony program where all records, designs, and secrets were stored. Lyra stepped forward and pressed her hand on a flat part of the wall. A soft blue light appeared. The wall beeped once. Then a crack formed and a sliding panel opened. Eli looked around nervously. Won't they notice we're inside? They will, Lyra said calmly. But not right away. I activated an old access code. It will confuse their systems for a little while. They stepped into a cold hallway. The walls were white and smooth. Everything was quiet, too quiet. There were no footsteps, no workers, no machines humming. Eli whispered, It feels like a ghost place. Lyra nodded. This is where they hide the truth, not where they share it. As they moved deeper, doors slid open by themselves. A voice echoed from hidden speakers, but it was calm and welcoming. Welcome, Harmony partners. Your visit is appreciated. Lyra ignored it and walked straight toward the archive Cora, large room filled with glass panels, each glowing with light. Eli had never seen so much data in one place. This is where the original files are kept, Lyra said. We need proof documents, voice recordings, anything that shows the truth about the clones and my people. She touched one of the panels and began typing quickly. Lines of code appeared, then folders with titles like Siren Clone Batch Alpha, Public Behavior Programming, Emotional Override Protocols, Natural Siren Study Logs, Restricted. Eli pointed to the last one. That one? What's in there? Lyra opened it. The screen showed photos and videos of Sirens, real ones, not copies. They lived in peaceful places full of trees, rivers, and light. But the next video made Eli's hands shake. It showed humans taking samples. Hair, blood, and even memories. Some of the Sirens looked scared. Others were confused. A soft voice in the video said, Harvest complete. Begin replication. Eli looked at Lyra. Her face was still, but her eyes were wet. You were right. Eli said softly, This is wrong. Before they could download more, the screen flashed red. Unauthorized access. Security alert activated. Run. Lyra said. They grabbed a small data chip and ran back the way they came. But this time, the walls weren't quiet. Alarms began to ring. The voice now sounded cold and sharp. Intruder detected. Lockdown. In process, doors started closing, lights turned red. Machines came alive. They reached a side exit just in time. As they escaped through a narrow maintenance tunnel, they heard the building seal itself behind them. Outside, the sky was turning gray. Patrol drones were in the air, moving fast. They would be looking for them now. Eli and Lyra ran toward the hills. They reached a small power station, old and forgotten. Inside was dusty, but safe for now. They sat on the floor, breathing hard. Eli looked at the chip. We have what we need. Proof. Yes, Lyra said, but we must share it. If we don't, they will hunt us down and bury the truth again. Eli had never done anything like this before. He was a quiet factory worker. He followed rules, paid his bills, lived in silence. Now he was hiding with a real alien, holding a chip that could expose the biggest secret on Earth. Do you trust me? Eli asked. Lyra looked at him with soft eyes. I do. Eli connected the chip to his old tablet. He used a hidden network one his uncle once taught him about. A pirate signal that could reach thousands of private systems at once. He uploaded the files, video, photos, documents. Then he wrote one line of text. This is the truth behind the Harmony program. Watch it. Decide for yourself. He hit send. Then they waited. An hour passed. Then finally his screen lit up, hundreds of replies. People had seen the files. Some were shocked, some were angry. A few didn't believe it, but most believed. Then came the messages of support. I knew something was wrong. My siren acts like she's afraid of something. What can we do to help? It was working, but they weren't safe yet. A buzzing sound came from outside. Patrol drones. Eli looked at Lyra. We need to move again, she nodded. This is just the beginning. As they left the station, Eli felt something change inside him. He was no longer just a man hiding from the government. He was part of something bigger, now something that mattered. The truth was out, and nothing would be the same again. Eli and Lyra moved through the shadows, walking along empty roads and dry fields. Behind them, the world was changing. The truth had spread. Within a day, thousands of people had watched the files. Some couldn't believe it. Others said they always felt something strange about their siren companions. News was slow to report it, but underground channels and old networks were alive with talk. People were asking questions. Big questions. Where do the sirens really come from? Are we using living beings without choice? What else? Has the government hidden from us? Back at the main city, the Harmony Center had shut down its public site. Patrols grew tighter, but something had already slipped out, something they couldn't take back. Eli and Lyra rested inside a broken farmhouse far from the city. The roof leaked and the air was cold, but they were safe. For now, Lyra sat near a fire staring into the flames. Eli handed her a piece of bread. It's not much, he said, but it's warm. She smiled gently. Thank you. Eli sat beside her. People are talking. We made a crack in the wall. Yes, Lyra said, but a crack is only the start. The wall still stands. Then we make the crack bigger. Outside, the wind howled. Later that night, Eli received a message on his tablet. It was from someone named Marek, a former Harmony employee. The message read, I saw the files. I knew parts of it, but I was afraid to speak. Now I want to help. Meet me at the old shipping yard. Tomorrow, 9 p.m., Eli showed it to Lyra. Is it a trap? She asked. It might be, Eli said, but it might also be our next chance. They agreed to go. The next evening, they reached the old shipping yard. Broken containers were stacked like towers. Rusted metal and forgotten machines filled the space. It smelled of dust and oil. Eli held a small flashlight. Lyra stayed close. Suddenly a voice called out, Over here. A man stepped from behind a crate. He looked about 40, with tired eyes and a strong jaw. He wore a worn Harmony badge. I'm Marek, he said. Eli nodded. I'm Eli. This is Lyra. Marek looked at Lyra carefully. You're one of the real ones? Yes, she said. I knew it, Marek whispered. I saw things. I worked on emotional control programs. I always felt it was wrong. The way the clones were treated, the way they were designed not to resist. Why didn't you speak? Eli asked. I tried. But the company, they erased people. Anyone who spoke too much just disappeared, so I stayed quiet, Eli understood. Fear could silence even good people. Marek stepped closer. But I saved something. Before I left, I took a copy of the original siren contract. The first one between Eden Tech and the government. It shows everything, that they knew the clones came from real beings, that they agreed to hide it. Eli's eyes widened. Do you have it? Marek handed him a small device. Keep it safe. If we get this to the right people, the whole system could fall. Just then, lights flashed in the distance. Drones. Run! Marek shouted. They dashed between crates, ducking under beams and pipes. The drones hovered overhead, scanning with red lights. Eli and Lyra reached the edge of the yard and slid down a steep hill behind it. Marek followed, breathing hard. They didn't stop running until they reached a small tunnel leading into the city's old sewer system. Inside, it was dark and damp, but quiet. They sat down to rest. Thank you, Eli said to Marek. I should be thanking you, he replied. You gave me the courage to speak. Lyra looked at both of them. We have something powerful now. With the files we uploaded and this contract. The world can't ignore it, Eli nodded. We need to go public. Not through secret networks, not just whispers, real news. Real exposure. But how? Marek asked. Most major networks are under Harmony control. There's one place, Eli said. Skyline Radio, an old station in the mountain zone. They were shut down, but some say they still broadcast underground messages. Marek smiled. Then we head to the mountains. For 2 days, they traveled on foot, avoiding roads and patrols. People along the way gave them food and water. Some had seen the truth. Others had heard rumors. More citizens were waking up. At last, they reached a tall hill covered in old radio towers. A broken building sat near the top with a dish still standing. Skyline Radio. Inside, they found a small team of techs working in silence. When Eli explained what they had, the team didn't ask for proof. They just opened their system and helped. An hour later, the broadcast went live. Eli stood in front of a camera. His voice was nervous but firm. My name is Eli Karin. I was given a siren through the Harmony program. But she is not a clone. She is real, and what I've learned has changed everything. He explained everything, how he met Lyra. What? She told him the evidence, the stolen contract, the videos, the truth behind the clones. Then Lyra stepped forward. My name is Lyra, she said. I came here to find out if humans still had hearts. I found one. And now I ask all of you, will you let this lie continue? Or will you choose something better? Silence followed. Then the tech signaled, we're live, it's out there. All they could do now was wait, but deep inside they knew the world was no longer blind. The morning sun rose slowly over the Skyline radio station. Light passed through the dusty windows, casting long shadows across the control room floor. Eli sat with Lyra beside the broadcast panel, watching the old radio dish continue to spin. Their message had gone out the night before, but they didn't know yet how the world had responded. Marek paced the room, chewing on a piece of dried fruit. We haven't heard anything. No sign from the outside. What if the signal didn't reach? It reached, Lyra said calmly. I can feel it. Something changed last night. Eli looked at the device. Marek had given him the original Harmony. Contract still glowing on the screen. The proof was real. The truth was out. Now. They just needed to see if people would believe it. Suddenly, the screen of the old console blinked. Incoming broadcast. Citizen response, 12,480 active feeds. Marek. Rushed over. It worked. They're tuning in. Voices began flooding the radio feed. Citizens from across the country. I saw the message. I confronted my Harmony officer. My siren cried when I told her what I learned. She didn't even know who she truly was. We want to help. We want justice. Eli's heart pounded. The silence was ending, but then came another sound, a deep rumble in the distance. Engines. Marek ran to the window. Vehicles. Lots of them. Dozens of black transports were climbing the mountain road. Eden Tech's private security, armed, armored, and fast. They're coming to shut us down, Eli said. Lyra stood up. We can't run this time. Eli looked at the tech crew. Keep the broadcast going, no matter what. They nodded and locked the doors. Outside, the hum of engines grew louder. The air shook. The first armored truck stopped just outside. Uniformed agents jumped out, weapons raised. They surrounded the building. Then a voice boomed from a loudspeaker. This is a secure zone. Power down the station. Surrender immediately. Eli stepped toward the window. We're unarmed. We only spoke the truth. The voice answered coldly. Truth is not your right to decide. You are violating the National Harmony Act. They're going to break in, Marek said. We don't have much time. Lyra turned to Eli. There is one more thing I haven't told you. One more truth. Eli looked at her confused. What is it? I was not just sent to observe, she said. My mission was to awaken others. There are more like mere sirens hiding among the clones, waiting, watching, learning. You're not alone? He asked. No, she said. And when the signal went out, they woke up too. Just then, a soft vibration filled the air, not from machines, but something else. A hum like a song without words in the sky above. Strange shapes appeared, small ships, round and silver, descending quietly. They came without weapons, without sound. The agents outside turned and looked up. For the first time, their faces showed fear. The sirens had come, one by one. The ships landed on the mountainside. From each one stepped figures like Lyra, tall, graceful, with soft-colored skin and calm eyes. People around the world watched through live feeds. The truth wasn't just on paper anymore. It had arrived in the flesh. A female siren in a teal robe walked toward the Harmony agents. We do not come to fight, she said. We come to speak. The leader of the security team lowered his weapon, unsure. We never agreed to be used, she continued. You stole from us. But today we choose to speak because one human listened. She pointed toward the station. Because of him. Inside, Eli felt his throat tighten. He had been no one, just another citizen. But now, his choice had sparked something greater. The agents didn't attack. They backed away, slowly, unsure what to do next. The Harmony system had relied on silence. Now that silence was broken. 1 week later, Eden Tech's leadership was called into emergency hearings. Government investigations began. Thousands of citizens disconnected from the Harmony program. The files and the truth were downloaded, shared, printed, and passed from hand to hand. Some sirens chose to return to their people. Others stayed. Lyra stayed. She walked with Eli through the now quiet city. Banners that once praised Harmony were torn down. People looked each other in the eyes again. Conversations returned. Life was slower but more real. Do you regret it? Lyra asked as they sat under a quiet tree. Eli shook his head. No, I only regret not asking questions sooner. She smiled. Questions are where truth begins. They sat in silence. Not the silence of control, but peace. Then Eli turned to her. So, what now? Lyra looked toward the sky. Now, we help build something honest. Something that doesn't require control or lies. And us? She took his hand gently. We started something together. I'd like to see where it leads. And so, from one act of honesty by one man who refused to ignore what felt wrong, an entire world began to change, because sometimes the smallest voice carries the greatest truth.